Welcome back. This is the part 2 of chapter 1 screencast. So if you're watching this, that means that you already saw me talk, and then you listened to the audio and you finished chapter 1, and now you're ready to do your comprehension activity. So welcome back. I really hope you enjoyed that chapter. There's a lot of really funny parts in it. What I want to go over with you right now is just review one of the skills we've been working on this year, which is how to make an inference. I think if we review this skill, it'll help you answer your comprehension questions for this chapter. So I just wanted to remind you that an inference is an educated guess. It helps the reader make a guess about the text, about something that the author doesn't tell us, right? So we take what the text says, what's in the text, plus what we know, and then we make our inference or our educated guess. So here's an example. One of the questions you have to answer today is about how Mama feels about living in Flint, Michigan. So I'm going to actually model for you how I would answer that question by making an inference. And if you're paying attention, then you might be able to use this to help you answer question 2. So here we go. I can infer Mama doesn't like living in Flint, Michigan, because the text says she was complaining about how cold it is, that she missed living in Alabama, and that also she's teasing Daddy about how cold it is and that they moved somewhere so cold. So I can infer that she doesn't like living there because all the things that she says about Flint are actually kind of negative. So that's how we would make an inference. We would take what the text says, right? And she's complaining, she's teasing, she was talking about how much she misses living in Alabama. Plus, what we know, I know that when people complain about things, they usually don't enjoy it, right? Then we put those two things together to make our inference. She's teasing and complaining. We know people who do that don't usually enjoy whatever it is they're teasing and complaining about. So our inference is that she doesn't like living there, and she maybe misses living in Alabama. So that's how you make an inference. So you're going to need that skill today because you have some choices for your comprehension questions. So just like we did last week, we have 4 comprehension questions for you to choose from, and you're going to answer at least 2. So you're going to circle on your worksheet, on your packet, which 2 you'd like to answer. And I'm going to go ahead and read those out loud for you. Okay, number 1, how does Byron earn the nickname the Lipless Wonder? To answer that question, you probably want to go back to the text and look for the part that talks about what happens to his lips. How does he get that nickname? Question number 2, how does Mama feel about living in Flint, Michigan, and how do you know? If you rewind the video a minute or 2, I modeled that one for you. Question 3, Hambone scared Mama into thinking that there were no Black people in Michigan. Why would this bother Mama? So again, this is making an inference. You want to go back to that part of the text where they're talking about how Mama almost married Hambone, and you want to read what Mama says, what Daddy says, and make an inference. Why would it bother Mama that there were no other Black people who are living in Michigan if she's about to move to Michigan? So you can think about that. And the last question you have is question number 4. How are the Watsons similar and different to your own family? So this is kind of a compare and contrast question. You want to think about the ways that they're similar and write those down. What do you guys have in common? Maybe you have a really annoying big brother or a really adorable little sister. Maybe your parents like to tease each other, right? So what is similar about your family? And then what's different? What are things that you read in the story that you're like, oh no, my family would never sit on the couch and all watch the news together? Or my family would never have my brother and I go clean the ice off of the car. Whatever it is, you're going to compare and contrast your own family to the family we just read about. So go ahead and when you're ready, when you've decided, you're going to write the number of the question you're answering, and you're going to write it down here on the lines provided, and you're going to do that for 2 questions. So go ahead and pause the video, and then when you've answered your 2 questions, then you can resume the video for the last couple directions that I have for you. Okay, if you are resuming the video, that means that you've already answered your 2 questions, and now you're ready to do your comprehension activity. So you actually have 2 choices for this. Your first choice is to make a family tree to represent the Watsons on a scratch piece of paper. So a family tree shows who is related to who in the family and has everybody's names on it and kind of a fact about them, how old they are, something like that. So if you would like to choose this option to show us what you've learned, on a scratch piece of paper, make a family tree that shows each family member's name, who they are in the family, are they a sibling, are they a parent, and then maybe draw a picture of what you think that they look like. So for example, Kenny Watson is the youngest son, and he's the middle child, and I took a picture from the movie of the Watsons Go to Birmingham. This is how I picture Kenny in my mind. And then I would go through and I would do the rest of the family members, and I would draw lines to connect to show how they are related to each other. Your second choice is to make a comic strip that summarizes and illustrates the important events in the chapter. So I went ahead and made just a little template for you if you'd rather get really creative and do it on another piece of paper or on something else. If you have a sketchbook, you're more than welcome to do that. The purpose of this activity is to summarize what you think the important events are. So when we summarize something, and this is something that I show my class, so Miss Singali's classes will be maybe new for you. When you summarize something, you take a big chunk of information and you summarize. You break it down into the most important parts, right? We just read a long chapter, but we need to break that chapter down into the most important parts that are going to move the story forward and that are really important events. So in order to do that, we use the words first, next, then, last. First, this happened. Next, this happened. Then, this happened. Last, this happened. So when we use those clue words, it helps us take all the information that we have, break it down into just 4 main points, and it helps us retell the story in the order that it happened. First, next, then, last. And then for this comic strip, you can also draw illustrations of what's going on. So you only need to choose one of these activities. Right here it says comprehension activities, choose one. So go ahead and pause the video to complete one of these activities, and then when you're finished and you're ready for your exit ticket, you can resume the video. All right, if you are resuming the video, that means that you have finished your comprehension activity, which I cannot wait to see, and you are ready to do your exit ticket. So again, we're giving you 2 choices for your exit ticket, but you only need to choose one. So I'm going to read the options out loud to you, but remember, you only need to answer one of these questions. Option number 1, pretend you are Kenny. Write a 1-paragraph journal entry summarizing chapter 1 from his perspective. So instead of saying, Kenny did this, then this, you would use the first person. You would say, I saw Byron get his lip stuck to the car, right? I saw Mama do this. You would write it from his perspective in first person. I, me, we, these are the pronouns that you would use when you're writing. I want you to focus on the main parts of the chapter and then post your response either as a comment to this assignment in Google Classroom, or if you don't have access to Google Classroom, then you can write it below. And then you can take a picture and have your family member send it to Miss Singali or to me, who's ever class you're in, on Class Dojo. Okay, so take a photo or post it in Google Classroom, your choice. Option number 2, when Mama tells Dad that the people in Birmingham are friendlier than they are in Flint, Dad laughs and says, oh yeah, they're a laugh a minute down there. Let's see, where was that coloreds-only bathroom downtown? What does Dad mean by this? What is the point he is trying to make? So you have to make an inference. Mama's saying she misses living in Alabama, and then Dad is reminding her that they had to have separate bathrooms there because of segregation for white people and for people of color. So he's kind of reminding her about that. Why do you think he's choosing to remind her about that? You kind of have to make an inference. And then I want you to explain your thinking by writing it as a comment in Google Classroom, or writing it on your paper here, and then again, making sure Miss Singali or I can get a picture of it, email. You can send it to us on Instagram. You can send it to us in Class Dojo, whatever you have access to. We just want to check your work and be able to give you feedback. So that is the end of lesson 1. Miss Singali will be teaching lesson 2. So I'm very excited that we get to do this together again. And just remember that both Miss Singali and I have office hours. If you have questions, if this was challenging for you, or you just want to share with us what you thought about the book, you can contact us during our office hours. Make sure to just see the cover of your packet, and it has all the information for how to access those office hours. We care about you. We're excited to be doing this, and I will see you for chapter 3. Miss Singali will see you for chapter 2. Have a great day. Stay safe.